Good morning. Oh, I guess it's good afternoon,
Oh, yes. I'm used to doing it earlier. It's weird.
right? Welcome to Awkward Channeling.
Yeah.
I'm Shauna.
I'm Joelle. I'm sorry. I am brain dead today.
We're both kind of a little weird. So I don't know who else might be having issues
Yeah.
with the energies right now.
Yeah.
I know I've been seeing a lot of posts about how kind of difficult it is right now. And just that we're really pushing to clear some really heavy stuff out of us, so we're easily triggered. We have our guides coming through and having us do some healing and deep dives for Joel
Sure do.
into past, right? And doing some healing. So if you're all feeling the energy, we will, this is new, so I must be channeling somebody. We will do a clearing and a balancing today as well. That sounds like a great idea.
Right.
Good morning, Judy. Thank you. Or good afternoon. It's really noon
I
here.
know.
It's 2 o'clock in our house. This is going to be awful because we will constantly say good morning. I will. So
No,
anyhow.
it's
So
weird.
today we are doing more spirit tea, which is ghost entities some more. And then
Yeah.
what we're trying to focus on today would be, do spirits follow you home?
Mhm.
And what to do if that actually seems to have happened
Yeah.
for you. Um, we've been on here talking for a while, but we really didn't talk about what we were doing today. So here we
Yeah.
are going, do you have a story?
Oh, yeah. I got
We're going to hear from Joelle about her story.
the first one. No, it's like, yeah, they absolutely do hit you on. And
Yeah, they
you
can.
don't necessarily have to be ghost hunting or, going on it.
No.
I mean, I guess it does help haunted places, but
Yeah.
when we lived in the apartment in Maryland, when my husband was stationed there, there was this little ghost girl, and he did some research. I mean, she was always, hey, bunkers, always in the house. She went all over to the apartments around us and above us, and come to find out, she had died during the influenza outbreak, and she's about 6 years old because she was about the same size as my son, and I could see her blonde hair, and the little braids. And so we didn't want her to follow us when he got transferred to Virginia. And it's like, okay, y'all, people, I got on Facebook. I'm like, y'all, give me ideas. How do I keep her from following us? And some people gave us some tips, and we did it. And before we left, when they came and got our furniture, military, they don't do, even though it was like 3 hours away, it took them a
Yeah.
week to get the furniture to us. So we went to the Navy Lodge, spent the night, and then went to the house we were renting in Norfolk. Everything was fine. Nothing went on. It was nice, calm. Well, Forrest had to go back to Maryland for a meeting or something, whatever he did. And he stayed at the Navy Lodge. And he came back, and it was like a Wednesday. And that Saturday morning, about 4 o'clock, I got up and had to go to the bathroom. And the house was built like in the 50s. So, the bathroom wasn't attached to the big bedroom or anything. I come out, shut off the light. It's pitch black. And I feel Dakota standing behind me. And I'm like, baby, what are you doing up? And I flipped the light on. There's nothing there. And I was like, huh, that was weird. I just thought I was sleepy. I don't know. So I go back to bed. And then a couple of days later, it's like, I know it's not very feng shui now, but our mirror faced our bed and the door was like to the side. And I'm sitting there reading, and I look up and I see this little blonde head peeking in our door. And I'm like, Dakota's not here. And then I realized that's the little girl
Yeah.
from Norfolk. And I'm like,
So
she didn't ride with Forrest.
she didn't follow your stuff, but when
She
he went back, she's like, oh
followed
look,
him.
I can go with him now.
Followed him. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But she
how
didn't
funny.
follow us when we moved. She didn't follow us home. I did ask her, "Hey, you need to go back to the," because she stayed there the whole time we were
Yeah,
there.
that was my next question. What did you do? Did she just
Yeah.
stay there and
I
she hung
didn't
out as part of
know.
the family?
I didn't know a whole lot back then, so we kind of talked to her a little bit, and hey,
She
as
wasn't doing
long as
anything
you're good,
bad.
we're good, And I think she liked Dakota because he was about the same age as her at that time, and a lot of stuff went on with him too. And I
Yeah.
he's psychic as hell, even though he doesn't want to admit it. And I think she was showing him
Yeah.
the things her daddy did to her,
Oh,
because
yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
crazy. Because one day Dakota just freaked out and I was like, "What in the world?" And he was scared to death. And
Mhm.
he was saying, "Daddy did this, Daddy did that," and I'm like, "No, he hasn't."
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it was just this off the wall stuff, and I was like, "I don't
Maybe
know,
she was possessing a little.
maybe,
I have
maybe."
oh, that brings up a story.
Oh,
Somebody else's story, was mine. I mean, they follow me home all the time. I just send them
yeah,
on their way, but, um, yeah, I had a friend client who, her son was extremely open and psychic,
yeah.
and for a long time had been seeing this little boy standing at the end of the driveway, and
Oh,
then started talking and interacting with this boy, and it turned out not to be a boy, but, he was taken over. We had to clear him out too.
wow,
So,
that's scary.
they can kind of influence, uh,
Yeah,
especially children because
yeah,
they're open, and especially children now because they're all really
right.
holding a lot of their psychic abilities, so they really can. So if you ever have someone who starts acting really differently,
Yeah,
um, and you have any idea that there might be a spirit around, it's time to clear them out.
right.
What would you do now with the knowledge that you know, if
I
that happened now?
I would try to send her to the light if I could send her
Yeah,
home,
yeah, yeah.
and I do. Like when we went, I don't know if everybody knows about the Myrtles, but it's a really haunted plantation down here that it's been
Oh,
on, I don't know how many ghost shows. And me and a couple of my friends went to stay in one of the cabins one night. And when we left, not a whole lot happened. We had some stuff, but it wasn't crazy. And it's like we're getting ready to leave. I'm like, you know what? Nothing has permission to come home with any
oh,
of us. Y'all are all staying here where you belong. And because my friend Carolyn stuff likes to attach to her too. And I'm like,
and that's a really good point. I mean, we don't have to have some long drawn out thing. You don't have to go find someone to clear things for you all the time. Sometimes, yeah, but if you know you're somewhere where you're feeling
yeah,
weird energy and you're sensing different things, it doesn't matter what it is. If you make that statement,
yeah,
nothing is allowed to attach a come home with me in any way, shape, or form.
yeah,
They can't. So
yeah,
that right there is the number one thing.
yeah,
If you're going, like, I have heard stories about people going into like old mines and going on a tour and coming home with miners
no,
that died in there, and a lot of the time they're stuck, right? In those situations, they don't cross. So they're kind of earthbound spirits. So, then they're even more troublesome because they're a little stronger. But and they're still really human,
yeah,
you know, but if you make a statement that they are not allowed to, that they cannot come home with you, 9 chances out of 10, you're not bringing it home.
yeah.
And truthfully, I mean, in my experience, there are spirits everywhere,
Oh, yeah,
everywhere. Lots of the land, that we inhabit now with homes and different things has been part of war or had
right.
some kind of trauma on it. You know, Oregon, when we moved to Oregon,
Yeah.
there was definitely a lot of weird activity around our property.
Oh,
And it turned, I mean, other people had to take care of it because I just couldn't figure
yeah.
out what I knew something was there. But when it's my own thing, I just can't do it.
Isn't that
Um,
funny?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
that's kinda
too
how
close
it
you're too
was.
close to it, you're too
Well,
attached to it, you're too,
in
so that you
Maryland,
sometimes you need other
we were
people.
I'm sorry, we were, like, in Southern Maryland, by, Patuxent River, and there was, like, I forget the name of it, but there was, like, big Civil War,
Yeah,
area there, and it's like,
yeah,
we weren't far from Dr. Mudd's house, that's where,
mhm,
John Wilkes Booth went after he shot Lincoln. You're driving down the road and there's a sign. This is where Booth
yeah,
was hung. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, well,
yeah,
that's not creepy. It was just
right?
everywhere. And it's
Well,
like,
and that's the thing with Oregon, the valley we were in w was, I can't remember what it was called, but,
mm,
it was where they came in and removed the Indians.
no,
So, there was a lot of killing and a lot of, trauma in that area. So, there was a lot,
yeah,
there, and it was really helpful to have somebody come clear it
right.
out. But, you can do that. Like, if you really think that you have something going on, that there's a bunch of ghosts or something, in your area, you can have somebody come clear it.
Yeah,
But if you're out somewhere and you think there's spirits around and you don't want them to follow you home, a simple statement, you
yeah,
know, will do that. Um, so you said that you would send her to the light. So going
yeah,
back to the ghost story. So
yeah.
if you had a child in your house now or a spirit of some kind, um,
I'd
what
probably
would you
talk to him first.
right?
I would like, hey, I was too scared back then because I'm like, I don't know.
I
But yeah,
want you to talk about how you would send them to the light.
oh shit, I don't know. I would actually call in the angels and just talk to them and tell them that it's okay, it's
Mhm.
safe, you don't have anything to be scared of. And because I did get, looking back, I do think she was scared
Uh-huh.
of a lot, and I think that's why she was around me and Dakota so much.
Yeah.
And
And because you could see her, so she could interact with you
yeah,
too.
and it was like, it was so funny. There was a little lady that lived in the apartments over. She would go and play with her baby's toys. The woman wouldn't
Mhm.
get up at night to feed this baby because she was so scared because she walked in and saw us playing.
Oh.
And she made her husband get up. But
Yeah,
yeah, and I don't know, just be like, hey,
yeah,
it's safe. You don't need to be here.
yeah,
You can go home and be free and not
yeah.
have to hang around. And
Let's say that let's say in a scenario where, like, she's probably earthbound because she died suddenly or whatever of an illness and, wasn't really aware that she was passed, which happens. So
yeah,
we do have earthbound spirits where that can happen, or they stay for another reason.
right.
But what if it's just someone who has crossed over, but they used to live in the house and you want them to leave? You need them to not stay
Yeah.
in the house. How would you
That's what
handle that?
I'm like, again, you tell them that, hey, do you know that you're
Mhm,
past or whatever? And just be like, this isn't your house anymore. We have people living here. It's theirs. And,
mhm,
if you're nice, you can
mhm.
stay, but you really need to go.
Right,
You know,
right, and that's the point too, like, if they feel like, because sometimes they're still kind of possessive
right?
and they cause issue,
Yeah.
right, in the home
And
or
some do
wherever.
like to be protective too,
Mhm,
in some
mhm.
instances,
True, that's true.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I
So
know I've
I
come
don't
across many
I
that
want
were
to find out why are you here?
mhm.
What's
Have
going
a
on?
talk
What
with
are
them.
you feeling? And
So in a scenario where you can't, like, let's just say you're not one of us and you don't have any tools as
yeah,
to, you know, how to talk to them. You know they're there, but unlike you, like, because you can see them and talk to them,
yeah,
right? But let's say that you're a little more dense like I am where spirits are concerned, and it's not as easy to have a conversation with them, but you know they're there.
yeah.
Um, would you just exclaim, "You have to leave"? Um,
I would,
whoever, whatever you are, you can't stay,
yeah. I
you
mean, I
know?
would be nice at first.
Mhm.
Like, hey, could you please? Because I did that. When in the house we rented when we first moved back home here to Louisiana, there was something or somebody in Dakota's room. And I didn't know I should have, because he was scared to sleep in his room. It
Mhm.
didn't click
Mhm.
until I was vacuum cleaning house one day. It was wintertime. His door was shut. And I went in to vacuum. I mean, it was like walking into a deep freezer.
Ugh.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God. I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're here, but you're scaring my son. Can you please
Mhm.
leave?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
poof,
Ah,
it instantly heated up. And he never had,
yeah.
it don't have to be big and fancy, like you said,
No.
just
No,
simple
it can,
statements.
yeah. And
Yeah,
that's another point. Like if you feel weird, like something's there, or you run into
yeah.
temperature changes clearly will tell
That
you
was the first time I'd
something's present.
experienced that, and it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, what are the signs, right? Like, what are the
yeah,
signs that we have something following us around or in our home?
mhm,
Cold, cold spaces,
yeah.
um, children saying so.
You're right.
Always listen
Always
to those
listen.
kids, man. Uh,
Always. And
yeah,
even
they always know.
the animals too.
Yes, watch the animals. If the animals are watching something move
Mhm.
around, somebody or something is there.
Yeah,
And in that instance, like, there's been times that I'm like, I don't know who's here. I don't know why you're here.
yeah,
But if you're not here for me, if you're not here because you belong to me, you have to go. And
yeah,
that's usually enough too. But I don't want to shoo off somebody that is for me. So
right,
I just have this weird thing about figuring out who it is. I don't know why I like to ignore spirits. I don't know.
right, yeah,
We can't explain that unless they're causing a problem, and then I'm like on it and they're out of there.
yeah,
But if they're just hanging around, I really just ignore them myself.
right,
But one of the ways that I'm like, if whatever you are, if you don't belong to me, then you cannot stay here.
right,
Me or someone in my family. You can't stay, and that's enough to get rid of them too. You don't have to know what's there,
right,
who's there, or why. I mean, it's great if you can have that conversation.
right.
Like, you know, I've definitely used tools. I've definitely used my pendulum and
Oh
a
yeah,
sheet and talked to some spirits before, and then sent them on their way. But sorry,
like I said, it's crazy today.
it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be, something simple. But if you have a situation where, oh, it's Lucia. Lucia?
Oh, hey,
Lucia. I don't know.
Lisa.
Um, Hi, honey. I love that.
It's a cute name.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. So there's, sorry, Shauna is having like an absolute weird day with her brain today.
Oh,
Um, I say it's weird, but it's probably more average. But there's just a lot of simple things. And I feel like there are times that we don't know, and you don't have to always know. You can
right.
just shoot them out.
Yeah,
If you have something that persists and you know, you don't know what it is or who it is or why it is,
yeah.
and they persist, that is a time where any one of you can call in Archangel Michael and ask him to please clear whatever this is,
Mhm.
and take it into the light, and
He's
they
probably
will
just tired
come.
of me because I call him in for everything. I
Archangel
love him.
Michael is like our go-to, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's like when Dakota played with the Ouija board that time. I'm like, I don't know
Yeah,
what I'm doing, but Archangel Michael,
get
please
out.
come in,
Yeah,
help me, and
yeah.
it
Yeah, and
left.
you can call out
Yeah,
any of the archangels, really. Michael is just the good one for clearing. Like, I've always used him for clearing my own energy, clearing, spirits, entities, whatever.
right.
Sometimes, as I got to be able to communicate with them more, because I worked with the archangels for so
Yeah,
long, I would be like, okay, I'm calling out archangels. We know Michael's coming. Who else is coming? And then boom, I would get a couple other names. So maybe
yeah,
Metatron was going to come with them, or Raphael, because there was healing that needed to be happening, or whatever, right?
right.
Like, I would get 3 or 4 names, and I would get to kind of, in my mind's eye, see them come in, surround whatever it was, and take them on out.
Yeah,
So, you can do that.
yeah.
And so even now, I call myself a simple bitch, but um even now, like, I'm just like, okay, whoever's most appropriate to handle this situation, I would ask you to please come in. And whoever is on my team or in the angels, they're going to pop in, they're going to
Yeah.
help you. You don't have to know what you're doing fully, right?
Right.
Now, there's some danger to just doing willy-nilly stuff,
Yeah.
right? There's certain things that I would say, don't mess with it.
Right.
But if you have something in your house and you need them to leave, the angels are a great
Oh,
resource.
yeah.
If after that things get worse, then you're probably not dealing with a ghost and you need to call somebody. You know, I think
Absolutely.
Joelle and I both do those kinds of clearings. Like you can call somebody
Yeah.
that you feel drawn to and be like, I don't know what's going on here, but I need some energy cleared. Because
Right.
sometimes it's just more. Or sometimes there's a portal that's open and that's how they're coming through. Or, you know, I
Mhm.
mean, there's just so much that can be happening.
Yeah.
Or you're a light worker and you know it or you don't, and they're drawn to you. Like, you know, if there's a spirit here that needs help, they're going to come to one of us.
Yeah.
Like
We're like
somebody who is
beacons
somewhat
to 'em.
open.
You know.
They're going to come. So, what else? Spirits
And
following home.
I always like to say too, when we talk about the angels, I like to remind people you don't have to be, quote, a Christian
Oh,
to
God.
work with them. Because I mean, I am the most unreligious person there is. I listen to heavy metal. I cuss like a sailor, but they're always around me. You
I
know.
was shocked. For me, like when
Yeah.
I first opened up and was learning who my guides were at the
Yeah.
time, it was archangels. And I was like, I have zero, zip nada, no religious background whatsoever. Most of my life
Right.
just didn't really have any beliefs. So that was kind of weird to me too. And a lot of people will ask if I'm talking about the angels, is this religious based? Absolutely not.
Right.
These are the archangels and the angels and the guides that are here to help every single one of us, no matter what
I don't
religion we're
remember
doing.
who it was, but one of them I channeled, and he's like, "We've been here long before religion."
Oh,
So they're not
long.
tied to religion at all, you know, in any
No, but it does affect people's beliefs,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was really
Well,
surprised.
mine too, you know, because I'm like, angels, what?
I knew
The
nothing
whole
about the angels.
trauma crap, you know, I'm not worthy of angels to help me,
Oh,
you
well,
know, that
yeah,
kind
we
of,
all have.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was part of it too.
you know,
For me, I was like, "What do you mean I work with archangels? Are you kidding? I'm not special. Leave me alone."
right? You're like, here you are.
Yeah, we all come in with that worthiness issue, right? Ugh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
She says, "I was surprised to find that the Catholic religion only acknowledged Michael." Oh, that's
I didn't
interesting.
know that.
I
Wow.
didn't know. I know nothing about religion, so it's
Right.
always very interesting. I
Yeah.
wonder why. I wonder why that would be.
Huh. That is interesting.
I know that they feel like, you know, Lucifer is the fallen angel and things like that. I mean, I know I've heard little bits of things like that, but that's interesting. I wonder why that is. Maybe we'll have to look into that.
Right.
But I'm glad because Michael's great.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's great and he will help anyone and everyone at any point in time. You know, I mean, we all have that worthiness piece and we think, oh, you know, I'm not worthy of, you know,
Yeah.
any of this or that or, you know, whatever. But it's really not true. It doesn't matter like what we think. The truth is we are worthy automatically.
Oh, yeah. I was watching a video the other day with this little guy, and I'm like, oh, this is so great. You know, it's amazing the way you're talking. And he's like, you know, God gave me something that, because even though I was unworthy, and I'm like, dude, you lost me because you're not, you know, you are worthy. And I'm like,
we're taught we're not,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. We're
And
taught
it's
we're
like,
not. He's learning that.
right.
Like,
And that we're disconnected from God. And it's like, no, we're not. We're literally
peace.
yeah. I always like envision like, oh, there's one. There's, you know, just picking us off of himself. And
Yeah, right. Uh-oh. I think I lost your sound. Talk.
sorry, I muted myself. I talk with my hands.
Control
I
those
pick the
hands.
mic, I mute myself.
Mine's way up too high to do that right now.
Right.
Thank God.
Well, you're channeling for a reason.
So funny. Well, let's take a minute. I'm going to go ahead and um, what are we doing? Because I know they were like, we'll channel a clearing. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that's interesting. We didn't talk about that. Okay. Um,
because all the energy is coming in, huh? Because of the funk.
yeah, and kind of harmonize and balance things
Yeah.
out for everyone. I also feel like there's a bit of clearing of debris from your field. That's interesting.
Hmm.
So your field being your energy
Yeah.
field. So maybe we're talking emotion and beliefs you're ready to release and things like that. That kind of debris, things that are just still floating around, but you really don't connect with. That's interesting. I've not had them tell me that before.
Hmm.
So I'm if y'all are good with that, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. If you
Always
don't want to
good for one
receive,
of your
just don't.
clearings.
What?
I said I'm always good for one of your clearings.
I did a little bit before we got here. All right, so we're just gonna there'll probably be some light language. And it feels like it's Michael. He feels really present. Yan so ay yan ay Yanas koto sayata yaso yanai katatai. You want to release anything that you no longer need to hold, any little pieces that might be ready to leave into the light, and we bring the light to you and we release those pieces to the universe. Allow them to be healed and transmuted. We wish for you to feel whole and at peace and complete. You are all worthy. You are worthy of all of the love and all of the abundance of all of the things in your world. We bring to you the love of the universe, the deep, unconditional love of your creator, and we thank you for being present at this time, for assisting the earth in ascension, for living your best life, whatever that may be. We ask for you to release self judgment, forgive yourself, bring in the love you give to others to yourself, and understand you are held, you are supported, you are loved. This is my message and my clearing for you today. Thank you. He just popped right in there.
That was beautiful.
I
When
hope that
you
was
held
helpful.
your hands up, I mean, it was just like I could feel it hit me. I was like, ooh, and then it just kind of enveloped me, and I was like,
And
oh,
I think that little
this,
touch of light language in the beginning was just me connecting with him.
yeah.
Like that was, yeah, he's like really like, we love Michael. See, I just talk about him and admire him, and boom, he just pops
Right?
right in. He's like, "Hey, gals, how you doing?" Oh, oh, that was surprising,
Oh,
interesting. Hopefully, that was helpful for
oh,
anyone that sees this, and anyone on replay. If somebody comes along and watches this video again, that is available, to you. It will come to you as well. I had somebody talk about that to me recently. She
oh,
was like, "I was watching one of your old videos, and it was a live video where somebody had a pain." And you were like, "Who's got the neck pain or whatever?" And she goes, "It was so funny because my neck hurt that day."
wow.
And she said, "You did like some clearing for that person, and it was gone from me too." And I said, "I love
I
that
know,
it's on there. It's there and it's available to you. If you see
right?
it and you experience it, that's wonderful." The worthiness piece runs deep. It does. often hear people say that they're not worthy of a dog's
Right.
love or of their significant other. Isn't that sad?
It is.
It is. But you know, I think we've all felt that way
Oh, yeah.
one point or another. I don't know why I took that away. For one point or another, right? I mean, I came from very much no worth,
Right.
from a parent that continually told us we were useless and worthless and, whatever. Their own shortcomings and their own
Oh,
wounds
yeah.
and, the life they led. You get it. But I think majority of people at
Oh,
some
yeah.
point
I
wake
was
up to the
better off
fact
because
that,
I wasn't my brother, you know? It's like,
yeah, oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, I think, in families
Yeah.
where someone somehow or another favors one or the other, or like my mom had a problem with men, so men like couldn't do anything wrong. So my brother,
Right.
I got in trouble for everything he did, even though she knew it wasn't me.
Wow.
But I mean, it's just a screwed up sense of,
Mhm.
it's wounds, it's
Yeah.
pain.
Oh,
But yeah, we are all very worthy. And
that's
even though we spout this, like we preach this to people, we
right.
still have an unworthy piece.
Oh,
We
yeah.
still have to catch ourselves and say, wait a minute, let that go.
Healing's
You're
not
not
one and
unworthy.
done. We have to keep going back. Like,
Yeah, your
is it
video
right
the other day.
now the other day when they were talking about, like, because
Layer.
I love Shrek, and they brought up Donkey talking about its layers. You peel the first layer, the onions, you peel the layer off, and after a while, you have to go back and peel off the other layer. And it's
Yeah,
like, it's true.
absolutely.
You come back to it. And,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I found like when I started to try to figure out how to heal the early days, I realized that I had to tell myself that was not right. Like I would hear the stuff running in my head and I had to say,
Yeah.
nope, that's not the truth. And I had to make up something opposite.
Yeah.
It was really difficult because I was like, I don't believe that, but I'm going to say it anyway. I was determined, right? So
Still
I
don't.
would just put in different thoughts and
Yeah.
eventually I stopped thinking that way, right?
Yeah.
Like it took months
You
and
have to
months, but
rewire your brain. Yeah.
you absolutely can. So if you catch that unworthiness piece, and you can tell yourself you're worthy, it will help undo some of that.
Yeah.
It's a little slower than some of the other healing we can do, but we'll get a clearing, get a
Right.
clearing from someone. You're so welcome, Judy. I'm sure. And you can rewatch this. I will download
Oh,
and upload again so that it'll be available. So you can always come back to these and,
oh yeah.
find you can just skip right forward to the healing and just listen to that part. That's fine to do.
You
It's
think
towards the end. We're losing Joelle.
it's
I
still
wiped her
trying
out.
to release. But there was a lot I need to release from yesterday. But yeah.
Uh, yeah, Joelle's in a big healing path. So
Yeah.
send her lots of love because she's working through some pieces. As we all are from time to
Yeah.
time as they come up.
Whipping my butt this week.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like I'm like,
yeah.
okay, does anybody want to come? And I'm like, I'm getting nothing today.
No, you're tired, and I don't think you're supposed to. And I think honestly, the healing was what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was going to channel. I
Right.
just, I'm just thinking, oh, I'm just going to run some energy because
Yeah.
that's who I am. But I'm now more of a trans channel, so they're like, well, I'm not going to just send energy through you.
Right.
We're going to have something to say too. So that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that.
Oh, it was nice.
Um,
I'm gonna go back and watch it again.
I might too. He's still here. I think I might be channeling him today.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping that we kind of stayed somewhat on our topic and maybe gave you a little bit of helpful um, information. But the truth is, if you have something hanging around and you're unsure, and maybe you feel like it might be a loved one, find a medium that you're drawn to that could connect with it and help you with it. Um, or someone that you just want to have clear. You can always have somebody do that if you aren't successful to yourself.
Right.
But I would really highly suggest that when you go out, if you ever feel like weird or something when you leave a place, to just be like, if there's something attached to me that doesn't belong to me, I don't care what it is, I release it and I send it back to the light.
Yeah.
Those kinds of statements are just, they work.
Yeah.
and then just assume it's done, and you got to not think about it.
Right. You don't want to draw it back in.
You don't want to call them back, or you don't want to invite other spirits, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Um, anyway,
thank you, Lucia.
oh, thank you. I
Yeah.
poor Joelle. She
No.
did have to, she lost a fur baby, and that's never easy.
Yeah. Just
So there's another reason to send her some love. Not only is she in the midst of healing personal stuff, but other things are happening.
she was a sweet
Oh,
baby,
good.
but it was her time. So
Yeah. Yeah. Judy says, I always like listening to you too. I frequently learn something new. Well, good, because that's what we're hoping for. We can't really stay on task all the time, but we
right.
should try.
Well, and I look at it as, we say what they want us to, whether it's what we planned or not. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
mhm.
So we will be back, and we're staying on Fridays at
Yeah,
noon Pacific Mountain Time, um,
Central, 3 Eastern.
2 Central, 3 Eastern. Yeah, so we're gonna stay on this time on Fridays, hoping that it's maybe a little bit better day for people. It's a little better for us, so we should be staying here for a while. If you have suggestions or what have you, leave us a comment,
Right.
contact one of us. All of our
Email,
information is in there.
text.
Hmm?
I said, email us, text us, message on Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Although I'm having trouble with my messenger.
right.
So if you
Yeah,
ever do
Facebook is
contact me on Facebook and I don't reply, it's not because I'm not replying, it's because my reply is not showing up
yeah.
to anybody. So right now that's kind of been an issue, but you can always email.
Yeah.
Email's good. Anyway, love to each and every one of you. We
Thank
appreciate your
y'all for
your
being here.
presence. Yes, thank you so much, and have a beautiful weekend. And we will see you all next week. All right. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank y'all again.